All right, I'm on the back of your notes that says area of triangles and trapezoids, and now we're going to look at trapezoids. It says to decompose or take apart the trapezoids below into familiar shapes. In other words, into shapes that we already know the formulas for. Then find the area of each trapezoid. Okay, so first we're going to break this into shapes that we already know. All right, so I'm hoping that when you looked at this trapezoid, you recognize that, hey, there's a rectangle basically that makes up the middle and that there's two triangles on the side. It's pretty easy to find the area of the rectangle. That's just going to be base times height. The base is just from here to here, okay? And it's labeled up here. That is 8 times the height, which is 6. So the area of the rectangle is 48 square centimeters. Okay. Then if I know that this up here is 8 and this total length down here is 16, I know that the part inside that makes up the rectangle has to be 8 centimeters. So 16 minus 8 is 8. And I have to take that remaining 8 and split it into two parts. So from here to here is 4. From here to here is 4. 4 plus 8 plus 4 gives me that total of 16. Okay, now I have two triangles. Okay, let's calculate the area of one of the triangles. Remember, that's base times height divided by 2. That's going to be 8. Sorry. Base for the triangle is 4. 4 times the height of 6, because we can reuse that. That's the height of both the rectangles and the triangles. 4 times 6 is 24, divided by 2 is 12. Okay, but I have two triangles. So I'm just going to say times 2, 24 centimeters squared. Okay, so this triangle has an area of 12. This triangle has an area of 12. And I said times 2 because there are two triangles. So if I want to know the grand total, what is the area of this trapezoid? It's the area of all of the shapes that we found individually. So one rectangle plus two triangles. And if my math is correct, 8 plus 2 is 10, 11, 12. Put down the 2, carry the 1. 5, 6, 7. Yep, 72. Okay, so the area of my trapezoid is 72 square centimeters. All right, let's try trapezoid number 2. I'm looking at that, and this time it looks like I have a rectangle and just a single triangle. But still, we need to break it down into the individual shapes in order to find the area of that trapezoid. All right, so what I've done is I've taken my trapezoid and I've basically recognized that I have a rectangle and a triangle. So over here, I had a rectangle and two triangles. Here, I have a rectangle and just one triangle. Okay, we've gone through and determined that the formula for a rectangle is base times height. The formula for a triangle is base times height divided by 2. And so we can find our individual areas of our rectangle and our triangle individually and add them together to get the area of the trapezoid. Okay, so if I look, there's 10 inches up here. There's a total of 13 inches down here. Well, from here to here is 10 inches because it's got to be the same as the base up here. And if this is 10, 10 plus this little piece has to be equal to 13. So this little piece from here to here is 3. All right, so our green rectangle is going to be a 10-inch base times an 8-inch height, and that is going to be 80 square inches. All right, on our triangle, we have a 3-inch base. And then careful here, here's our height right here. Remember, our height always has to be perpendicular to our base. Do not use this number, okay? Because that is not our base or our height. Our height is actually 8. 8 over here, that means it's going to be 8 over here also. Okay, so 3 inches times 8 inches divided by 2. 3 times 8 is 24. 24 divided by 2 is 12 square inches. Now, for the trapezoid, it's going to be both of those added together. So the area of this trapezoid is 80 plus 12, and the area is 92 square inches. That's not y'all's bell. All right. But it's kind of tedious to split it into triangles and rectangles, so there is actually a formula that we can use specifically for trapezoids. So let's talk about what a trapezoid is. A trapezoid is 1 or 2 triangles and a rectangle combined. So in these two previous examples, here I had a rectangle and 2 triangles. Here I had a rectangle and 1 triangle. So a trapezoid is either 1 or 2 triangles plus a rectangle. All right, and instead of us always finding the area of the triangles and rectangles separately, we can use the area of a trapezoid, which is going to be 1/2 first base plus second base, like the bottom base and the top base added together, times the height, and then times 1/2. Okay, base 1 plus base 2 times height, and then divided by 2 or times 1/2. Okay, so B1 is the length of the first base, B2 is length of the second base, and H is the height of the trapezoid. All right, so here is our formula. And I'm not going to worry about trying to show you how, but basically this formula takes into account that we're finding rectangle and triangle or triangles together. So it does everything for us. So let's use it for some practice. Okay. Number 1, use the formula to determine the area of the trapezoid. So our formula is base 1 plus base 2 times height divided by 2, or you can say all of this times 1/2. It's the same thing. Plug in your values. Base 1, 13. Base 2, 7. Height is the 4, not the 5. Don't use the 5. Divided by 2. 13 plus 7 is actually 20. 20 times 4 is 80. 80 divided by 2 is 40, and this is in inches squared. All right, I'm on number 2. Again, use the formula to determine the area of the trapezoid. All right, one more time. Looking at this real quickly, I don't use this. My 3.2 is my height. Here's my base 1 and base 2. So this is area of a trapezoid is base 1 plus base 2 times the height, all of that divided by 2. So I have 9 plus 5, those are my 2 bases, times 3.2, all of that divided by 2. All right, so 9 plus 5 is 14, and then I say 14 times 3.2. 14 times 3.2 gives me 44.8. And then I have to remember to divide by 2. Well, 44.8 divided by 2 is just 22.4. And this all was in meters, so this is meters squared. All right, let's do the last two. Okay, on the last two, what I want you to do is read them carefully, use the formula, find the area of the trapezoid. I want you to hit pause while you do that, and then hit play and see if your answers match my answers. Are you pausing? Okay, take a look at number 3. Base 1 plus base 2, add it together times height divided by 2, and you get 26. Now, on number 4, there's a little bit of a trick. The trapezoid, what they gave you was the area already. So I'm going to use this formula, but I know this number over here. I know 192 equals base 1 plus base 2 times height divided by 2. All right. Now, if you remember rearranging, if I have divided by 2 over here, let's get rid of it by multiplying both sides by 2. So times 2 times 2. That's going to get rid of it here. 192 times 2. All right, I think that's 384. And that's going to give me all of this. What's 14 plus 18? That's 32, I think, times height. Okay, then to get height by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 32. 384 divided by 32. 32 will go into 38 once. And 32 will go into 64 twice. So our height is 12. Okay, which is right there. Okay, so that one was a little bit tricky. You had to put things in different places in the formula and rearrange to solve for what you needed.